This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shasheena. Rolle. As always, it's so great to have you with us. The government is shedding light on its food security plan. Officials continue to lament the amount of money spent on food imports. And today, the Department of Agriculture and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation hosted a one-day forum on agriculture. That is where officials outlined the way forward for food production in the Bahamas. Farmers and cooperatives gathered to discuss the way forward in the agricultural sector. While addressing those in attendance, Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, said his ministry, in partnership with the Ministry for Agriculture, is leading the charge as it relates to developing agricultural programs on Grand Bahama. He says it is all in an effort to increase production.
I'm a local farmer, and we all in this room know today that our production level in Grand Bahama has been dropping as we speak, as well as to reduce food imports while paying close attention to food safety. It is my sincere belief that this workshop will act as the catalyst for all of us in the business and to assist the government to achieve its mandate outlined in our Charter of Governance, which is to revitalize the agricultural industry, decrease food imports, and promote our strategy to food production.
The minister responsible for agriculture in the country, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray, says the fact is statistics show that the Bahamas only has enough food to feed itself for 3 months. He says this is why the government is serious about food production.
For the first time, we have a prime minister who is putting his money where his mouth is. Agricultural budget has been increased this year by $4 million. In order to do some things, put some things in place so that when we speak about agriculture, we don't need to talk about Jamaica no more. Because we will have schools to which Bahamians can go to learn the technical and practical aspect of growing what we eat and buying only what we must.
Leading the seminar for farmers is Manuel Messina. He says last year IACA met with farmers to determine the needs of agriculture on Grand Bahama. Now he says he has come back with several proposals.
The whole idea is to have a plan for the next 2-3 years at least, where we can say this needs to be done to get agriculture at the right position that Grand Bahama needs to be.
The future of a local manufacturing plant is uncertain, and hundreds of jobs may be hanging in the balance as the company is facing a possible increase in taxes, which company officials say could force them to shut down their operation. Sabrina Brown reports.
The Bahamian Brewery opened its doors on Queens Highway some 7 years ago in the face of an economic recession with an initial investment of some $20 million. The company employs 70 people and provides hundreds of indirect jobs. But CEO James Sands believes his business is under attack as the government is proposing additional taxes, which he says will put his company at a disadvantage.
I came to Grand Bahama under the rules of play of the duty was X and the Commonwealth Brewery was another matter, and the spread difference between Grand Bahama and Nassau is $3, and by means of attack it means there's wind in the air that they wish to narrow this gap. If this gap is closed, the brewery will close.
Bahamian Brewery manufactures the popular Sands and High Rock beers and other products on Grand Bahama. Sands says about 70% of its inventory is exported to New Providence and other islands in the country. The company now competes against beverage giant Commonwealth Brewery in Nassau, which is 75% foreign-owned. Attorney for Bahamian Brewery Fred Smith says the company only pays tax on the exported items. He believes an increase in this structure would take away the company's competitive edge.
The government wants to raise our taxes from $2 to $3.50 per liquid gallon, but they do not intend to do the same to Commonwealth Brewery, which means that the competitive spread that exists between us and Commonwealth Brewery would be narrowed, and we would be less competitive against this foreign giant multinational corporation that enjoyed a monopoly for over 20 years. And the reason the brewery came to Freeport is because of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement, which was supposed to be tax exempt.
Smith says Bahamian Brewery pays nearly $800,000 in customs duty annually, and a tax increase would mean the company would have to shell out an additional $500,000. Attorney Smith says the impending hike in fees has also put a dent in the company's expansion plan.
We're about to enter into a $1 million contract with Freecon and Doug Silvera, and they were going to start, I think, this week, in fact. And we were going to sign the contract. And last week, the Ministry of Finance called us in, and the first thing they hit us with was that they wanted to increase our taxes and reduce that spread. And based upon that discussion, we came back to Freeport, and Mr. Sands had a meeting with Freecon the very next day and said, sorry, I have to cancel our intended expansion.
While Sands and Smith are appealing to the government not to impose any additional fees on the company, they admit that this tax issue did not just come about under the present administration.
This gray cloud has been hovering from the previous administration. And I cannot conduct and run a business under this cloud.
What the government, both FNM and PLP, have failed to understand is that the Freeport economy is very artificial, and that and the bureaucrats in Nassau just don't seem to understand that we're not that vibrant economy that exists in Nassau with Atlantis, with Baha Mar, with all these other developments that are going on. Nassau is a booming economy with over 300,000 Bahamians there and nearly 1 million tourists each month.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, we were unable to reach officials at the Ministry of Finance for their response to the concerns expressed by the Bahamian Brewery. In other news, a group of parents from the Maurice Moore Primary School held a closed meeting last evening to discuss recent activities at that school. For weeks now, the Bahamas Union of Teachers has been lobbying for the removal of the school's principal. The ministry says the school leader will not be moved, and this week 3 teachers from that school were reassigned to other institutions and another terminated. Director of Education Lionel Sands telling ZNS News last night that the teachers who were reassigned requested the transfer because they claim that they cannot get along with the principal. He says the foreign teacher was terminated because a Bahamian is available to fill that post. But parents say that they believe more attention must be given to the impact these decisions are having on the students.
The children are being forgotten. The teachers are being forgotten. As a matter of fact, the teachers are being undervalued and underappreciated or not appreciated at all. And to me, that's a travesty. It's a crime in this country when teachers cannot voice their opinions and be fearful of their jobs and victimization.
They're moving these teachers. These teachers are family. They have been there. They have been there for our children. And I want to encourage the teachers of Maurice Moore to stand strong. Hold your head up high. The parents and everyone else, we are going to fight for you.
I am calling on the Minister of Education to please intervene for the best interest of the students and the staff at that school, because I do believe that these incidences would affect the children and their learning abilities. Minister of Education, please help us.
Well, Area Vice President for the Teachers Union, Quentin LaRota, is also the father of 3 students at the Maurice Moore Primary School. He says the director's explanation is simply unacceptable.
The explanation for it is designed for people of less intelligence. We're not that stupid. We know what is going on, and we're not afraid to call it what it is. We're not afraid to speak up. This parent is not afraid, and I'm supported by many parents who are not afraid. I thought that anybody who has a mind and a heart for education compare the work and the effort of those teachers with the leadership of that institution, it is clear who should stay if you're making a decision on education. Now, if a decision is based on politics, that's another story.
A man who was the subject of a police bulletin was arraigned in court today. 38-year-old Shem Edward Solomon of Columbus Drive was arraigned on 3 counts of armed robbery, 1 count of attempted armed robbery, and 1 count of escape from lawful custody. He pleaded guilty to escaping lawful custody and was sentenced to 1 year at Her Majesty's Prison. On the armed robbery and attempted armed robbery charges, he was not allowed to enter a plea, and the matter was adjourned to November of next year. He was also remanded to Her Majesty's Prison until trial. Police say the armed robbery charges are connected to incidents that occurred in Freeport between August 16th and August 26th. Reports say Solomon attempted to escape lawful custody while at the Gerald Bartlett Police Headquarters here in Freeport on Thursday. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues right after this.